I guess that's been my intro forever.
That's okay. I love it.
Yeah. Good morning, Judith, my love.
Good morning.
My name is John.
I'm Judy.
And this is Sober Mind. Here we have grown folk, crazy sorry, shouldn't use the word crazy. Conversations
Grown
about
folk conversation.
Yeah. Raw, unedited chats about our sobriety and mental health.
Journey.
And life in general. Yep. Yeah. The sobriety adventures.
Yes.
Judy.
Yes.
Do you think you hold on to trauma?
Yes. Yes, I do.
All right. Me too. I figured out that our body holds on to trauma.
Yes, it does.
And our body keeps the score.
Yes, it does. Unfortunately. But you know what? The good thing about that is we can reprogram.
We can reprogram.
Yes, we can.
We can mend ourselves. We can get better.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So on that note, before we get into gratitude and a quick wrap up of how our week is going, that's what we're going to be watching and discussing today. I was about to make an intro like he's actually here. Joining us from the author of How the Body Keeps the Score, Bessel van der Kolk.
Love that name. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Don't you have an applause thing on your...
Oh, yeah, I got rid of it. It's in there somewhere. Anyway, Bessel van der Kolk, he wrote a book. We have yet to read it, but I've seen snippets of it.
It's on the list.
Yeah, I've seen tons of discussions about it. And in short, it is how our bodies hold on to, or we are born with already, a traumatic envelope within ourselves.
Yes. Traumatic genes can be passed down.
Yes. I don't know how they prove that.
I don't know either, but I can. Well, when we were talking about this earlier, we were talking about Holocaust victims and how their children are suffering the trauma that they went through because those were passed down in their genes. I mean, that's...
Yeah. I mean, genetic markers are genetic markers. You know, I'm an alcoholic. Thanks, Ma.
Predispositions. Yes.
Yeah. And so my alcoholism tree has gone back, from what I know, at least 4 generations. It's pretty deep.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mine probably goes back even further.
So is it plausible to think that the events and the misfortunes or bad things that happen to other people could get passed down through your genetic markers?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think so.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I mean, you know,
Sorry.
We'll go on.
Sorry, I'm
ready to get into the
I know.
conversation. I'm eager. I'm like, let's go.
I know. I wanted to say good morning to everybody. Kim, good morning.
Good morning.
I know. Brian is there too. So
yo,
Brian. Joe, thank you so much for joining us. Joe is joining us from. Well, he joined me. He's chatting with me on Discord. So thank you, Joe, for that. I don't have a lot of friends. Oh, there's Brian. I see. So I got a couple Discord
morning,
friends.
Sissy.
Yeah. Good morning, Michelle. Anyway.
Morning, Mom.
He lives in the United States. I won't say where, but unless
it's
he
very
says
hot.
Okay.
Well,
True. Okay. Let's talk about gratitude. You want to go first?
yes, I will go first. I wanted to talk about what I'd mentioned last evening, that I'm just grateful that we are going through this journey of self-improvement, self-help. How do I put this? Right now, we're in an awakening at this point, because we're reading books, we're learning how to get in touch with ourselves, we're learning how to be mindful, we're learning how to talk to our inner child, we're learning how to grow and mature as human beings. And I'm just so grateful that we've taken that first step on this journey. I know it's going to be a while. You know, we're going to be doing this probably for the rest of our lives, but you know, that's okay. I heard somewhere that, you know, If you stop learning and you stop dreaming, you die. So I'm going to be living forever. But yeah, I'm really grateful to be on this journey of self-discovery and enlightenment.
Yeah, a reprogramming, if you will.
Yes, most definitely.
So, in short, we've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it more as we get through this stuff, because it's obviously very pertinent to our mental and spiritual awakening that we've been having. Mm-hmm. But we referenced the book that we're reading, and we've got another couple books locked and loaded, ready to go. I'm almost done with this. So we were reading Dr. David R. Hawking, Letting Go. Forget the rest of the title.
I forget the rest of it too, but it's really good.
Yeah. So.
And then there's another one that I'm almost done with Letting Go of Nothing.
Yeah, Letting Go of Nothing. That one's a good one. It's basically the crib notes of.
It takes
the big book.
Takes Dr. Hawking down to
3 hours.
Cliff notes, yeah.
Instead of 10. Anyway, yeah, it's really good. I know we're not doing we're not giving it justice and talking about the highlights of the book, but that's just it. It's in theory, in essence, if you will, it's just really figuring out how to let go. And I can't believe that this is something that I've been really missing since this whole sobriety and mental health journey started. Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, I bet people are wondering,
to be fair.
Yeah. To be fair, 2 years, 8 months sober. Why now? Well,
you weren't. I don't think you were ready. Well, I know I wasn't ready.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I wasn't open enough.
I think when you know, you'll. The first year it was a lot of just fucking figuring out or trying to
how to exist.
Yeah, and I was drugged. I was taking antidepressants and antipsychotics. I was very overprescribed.
Yes.
I was talking to Brian about that yesterday. I wasn't talking. I went on a rant about the.
You were soapboxing
about the American pharmaceutical industry and how we are not taught how to heal ourselves or given the tools to do that, because it's just quicker and easier to write a prescription, and plus then they get a kickback.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work to go, hey, do you drink caffeine? What's your diet like? What's your sleep hygiene like?
Yeah, and they don't say that this is for most people, these prescriptions are a temporary fix. You're not supposed to be on them for the rest of your life. And let's talk about the program on how to get off of them, how to slowly work yourself off of them. The exit strategy. Yeah, the exit strategy. They never go into that.
No, there is just the thing I got was, you'll probably be on this the rest of your life. Good luck. Like, what? Remember I told you I'm like this?
Thank you?
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so that's what I went on my rant about.
Yeah.
Okay. I like your gratitude.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful. And the more that I think about the journey that we're on, the more grateful I get that I've reached this point.
Good. It's like a perpetual return machine. The more you do it, the more you get from it.
Yep. Just keeps getting better and better.
Good. I love you. Thanks for going through this journey with me.
High five, brother.
I'll give you a low one. I can't tilt my broken shoulder like that still. Okay.
I'll be like that next week.
Yep. Oh yeah, we got to talk about whether we're going to do a show or not next week. Oh, I'll probably still do it. So
no, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll be in a sling because I'm getting shoulder surgery on Friday.
Yeah.
So I'll be sitting here like this, but I'll still be here.
Yep. We'll get through it. Okay. My gratitude is I'm just grateful for the basics. Electricity is so fucking sweet.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Air conditioning is just. Oh,
yeah. Things we all take for granted. Got electricity, food, more food than we know what to do with.
Roof over our head. Clothes on our back.
Yep. Life is good.
Yes. Comfortable situation.
Take a minute to have some gratitude for just the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. How's your week been? What's been going on?
My week has been really good. I've gotten some great trail runs in. Because I listen to the self-help books while I'm on the trail, and I'm surrounded by nature. I'm surrounded by deers and squirrels and rabbits and gorgeous trees and the trail, and you're out in the middle of the woods, kind of. And it's so peaceful. There's been times that I have felt so much joy running that you can't explain it. You cannot explain it to somebody else and have them feel that amount of joy and happiness. But yeah, it's just been fantastic. The weather's been fantastic. My garden is doing great. Yeah, I cannot complain. I've had a great week. How's your week been?
Good. We're architecting our own destiny.
Yes.
It's better than waking up with a hangover every single day.
Oh my goodness, yes. No, thank you. Big P for pass.
Yeah. I was thinking about that pretty hard the other day because it's been a long time since we've been that way.
Yeah.
And on some of my shorts that I've posted, I get questions, and they seem questions from I think they're younger people, I'm assuming, or they don't understand alcoholism. So that's good, but they always ask, like, so the latest one was, why do you call yourself an alcoholic when you've been sober for so long? So that question catches me sometimes, because even in the big book from Alcoholics Anonymous, and doctors, there's no real distinction on, are you ever recovered or are you always in recovery? Well, I can answer that for myself. And this is what I answered on the YouTube short comment the other day was, I'm never recovered. I'm always an alcoholic. It's weird that term, I think, holds a weird annotation for some people, because
there's a certain stigma to it.
Yeah. There's not to me. That's what I have. I have alcoholism, and so I thought I did a good job of explaining. I said, I'm never recovered because if I were to, I think my definition of recovery is I would be able to have one glass of beer once in a while, right? That's you're not an alcoholic then. But I told this person, I said, if I take one sip, I'm going to have a full glass of beer. And I 100% guarantee you that alcohol will get into my bloodstream really fast, as it always has. And I'm going to tell myself, okay, just one more beer after that.
Yeah.
And I will fucking
the great lie.
I will 100%. I could pass a lie detector test. I'm sure I could. When I say that one more.
Just gonna have one more. Yep.
Then I'm gonna have one more, and on that third one, I'm gonna say, okay, I mean it this time, and I fucking swear I will pass a lie detector test again. And I will do that one more beer until I fucking black out. And so that person replied back, it was, I never understood this. And I said, I hope you don't ever understand it.
Yeah, I hope you never experience it.
Yeah, so in short, I think that's the definition of recovery versus recovered. I don't know if you can. I think it holds true for any addict or an alcoholic, right? I'd be curious to.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Hold on. My ember just fired up because Marcus Hall has joined.
Hi, Marcus.
Oh God. My soul is complete. So.
There's no reason. Hold on. Lee says, since I drink to get buzzed and drunk, there's no reason to drink one glass of wine. Same result as every other day and morning after.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, see, Michelle says Guy was the king of one more. Yeah.
There's never. I know myself. I know for myself. If I sit down and have a glass of wine, I'm gonna drink the whole bottle.
Yeah.
That's just a guarantee.
And there won't be just one.
No.
And it's so. I know we're going a little bit off track, but it's our show, so we can fucking do what we want. I'm the producer and director. So Lisa, when she was on here, and she's expressed this, I still think about this often. that just a while ago, like within the last year, she had a 30-day thought of when she retires, she'll move to, I think it was somewhere in France, and she'll just have wine on occasion.
Yeah. This is the great life.
Yeah, and then she realized it took her like a whole fucking month to snap out of it and go, what the fuck are you even thinking?
Yeah.
That's what our brain does. It's the romance of it.
She says Italy.
Italy, yeah. Even better, because that would be the spot.
Perfect.
I do that once in a while too. I'll see a movie or something, and man, there's the quintessential pint glass that has the tulip at the, not the tulip glass, but the sort of the bulb area. It's the legit pint glass that you would get in a British or Irish, Scottish pub.
Yeah.
And for some ungodly fucking reason, I get these glimpses of me when I'm what's with the retirement, when I'm retired, like when I'm older. When I'm older,
kind of like a celebration.
Yeah, when I'm older, I'll no longer be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I'm 51, but like in 10 years, I won't be. It'll all be gone.
Yeah.
It'll all be in the past, and I'll just be sitting there chatting with some old friend, drinking a beer. That's our fucking sneaky lizard brain throwing some weird shit in there. Like, dude, you
can totally do it.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
You can do this. No problem.
No. Okay.
Oh, Lisa says, or if I am, who cares?
Yeah. Who cares? No one will know me there. So yeah, my week was that. That was a long answer to it. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous meeting again on Thursday, and it feels really good going there. I actually, very selfishly, the lady's like, who's been sober for multiple years? And I raised my hand and I got my 2-year coin. I'll get my 3-year one in about 4 months. Yeah. But I don't know. I just felt I wanted to get it from.
Can you believe it's been almost 3 years?
I can. It's been fucking hell.
Well, the first year was fucking hell. The last of it wasn't too bad.
I'm just kidding. No, it's good. It's a good marker. That's the other question I get in the chat comments. I mean, the YouTube short comments is, why do alcoholics keep track? Why do addicts keep track of the days? You should just move on. Well, okay. I appreciate that the ne'er-do-wellers are all experts in this, but caution to everyone out there: if something is working for someone, don't tell them not to do it. Just fucking move on with your life. Stay out of their fucking business. I think it's important. I don't count the hours and days. I like the huge markers of the year. The year is important. And when you're starting, that hour or day is important, because
that minute is important.
Yeah, that's one of the tenets of AA is one day at a time.
Yep. And some of those people, it literally is 1 minute at a time, because they're white knuckling it at that point. They've only been, sober for a couple days or a couple hours. And, at that point, counting is very important, because it shows them
progress.
Yeah. A sense of achievement.
And a reminder that you're powerless over it.
Over alcohol. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it felt good. And it, one of the other philosophies of AA or NA, or Al-Anon, these groups, is to be able to listen and, listen to other people's stories. It gives, it resonates. It gives some solace. It gives some people ponderances.
Gives some people perspective.
Yeah. And I realized that me being on the sort of, let's call it intermediate level of sobriety timelines, I'm not a rookie.
Yeah.
That there's a lot of younger people in my group that are there. And so when I share my story, hold on, full disclosure. I like to talk about this stuff. It's no secret. So once someone's like, my name's my name's Bill. I'm an alcoholic. And with that, I'll pass. I'm like, fuck yeah. I don't want to hear anyone. I'm ready. And I take up like 15, 20 minutes. I look around and people are like, God damn, this guy.
They do tell you at the beginning, you got 2 or 3 minutes, then you got to pass.
No, I see people like getting ready to start to fall asleep and shit while I'm talking. I'm like, I got a lot to unpack. But anyway, I'm just kidding. I don't
Strap
take that
in,
long.
Folks. I'll be here for a while.
I have yeah. Because I'm very candid. I'm very open.
Yeah.
To the point to where it's borderline standoffish. People are like, I don't want to see you peel your entire fucking skin suit off of your body and talk to me, John. Jesus Christ. I just said good morning. Good morning, John. How's it going? I'm an alcoholic. You want to hear all about it? No, man.
Whoa,
God.
dude. Whoa.
But anyway, so yeah, telling the story. I caught myself. I was looking around. I'm like, oh man, there's some young people in here that this isn't my story is not unique. Our story is not anything crazy. There's people that have had it way worse than we have.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
people that have
Wrapped their car around a tree,
Yeah.
woke up 2 weeks later in the hospital, and have no idea what happened. Yeah.
But it's again one of the tenets of AA. It's for us to be able to share experiences so someone can possibly pick up on one little thing of that. So,
Yeah.
okay. Yesterday, I'm getting ready to wrap it up. It's a whole show about how my week has been. But
Welcome to John's week.
yeah. I was hanging out with Brian and Kim yesterday, helping them do some yard project stuff. And Brian and I were driving. We had to go pick up some gravel. And he said something that was pretty interesting. It kind of caught me. And I told you about it when I got home, and that is, he's like, John, I know an awful lot about you because I sit down every week and watch you and Judy talk about yourselves. And I was like, yeah, you do know. I almost don't think it's fair. I think everyone should have to do a podcast. We should be able to sit down and watch.
I want to watch the Brian and Kim podcast.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
So, come on, guys.
It would involve a lot of cooking and passionate discussions.
Yeah.
A lot of home projects.
Yeah. They're great conversationalists.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
should get on.
Yeah. All right. Should we jump into it? You have
Yes.
anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So
As my sister says, I'm more of a closed corporation.
I know. you know what? You've hung on to that for a long time.
I know.
You're not anymore.
No, I guess I'm not. I'm a little bit more open.
Yeah. You're a lot more open. You're not people in a closed corporation would not do this.
That's true. They wouldn't. They would not.
Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. We're gonna jump into it, and we're gonna do our usual format. We're gonna talk about so from the author of How the Body Keeps a Score, Bessel van der Kolk. I've been if you haven't checked it out, The Big Think is a channel that I subscribe to. A bunch of great, easy to digest, under 10-minute discussions about philosophy and religious and conscious thought and stuff like that. So he's going to get into, he doesn't talk about his book, How the Body Keeps the Score, but he talks about how the body holds on to trauma. So we'll do our usual format. We're going to watch a little bit of the video. We'll pause if we have some discussion points. Judy, you're in charge of keeping an eye on the chat.
Okay.
All right.
Which means I'm going to ignore it completely.
No, you don't have to. All right, here we go.
Trauma is so ubiquitous that if you think you have never seen it, you have not looked. We meet people who fly off the handle. We meet people who shut down. We meet people who are very difficult. It is a rare family that doesn't have a drug addict, alcoholic, disturbed person. One thing I like to say when I give a lecture, are there any normal people who come from normal families in the audience? And sometimes one or two people raise their hands. I say, can I please come to your family for Thanksgiving? Because I've never been to a normal family. My name is Bessel van der Kolk. I'm a psychiatrist, neuroscientist. I have been studying trauma for about 50 years now. I've treated a whole variety of different traumatized populations, see trauma in many different countries around the world, and I am the author of the book, The Body Keeps the Score. It's important for people to realize that not every mental health professional knows what we're talking about here. The mainstream system of psychiatry, psychology is that there is something wrong with you and I need to fix you. That's a very different attitude than dealing with trauma. Around that time that I first started to work for the VA, a group of us started to define what trauma is and started to define what happens to people. 1978 was the year, and the Vietnam War was over by about 6 or 7 years. The very first day that I met Vietnam veterans, I was just blown away. They kept referring back to their dead comrades. Their hearts seemed to be with the people who were no longer around. They had a hard time loving their wives and girlfriends. They had a hard time being in any way meaningfully involved in the present. These were guys who were my age, who were smart and competent, but they clearly were just a shadow of their former self. And what was also really striking is they were sort of passive much of the time, and then people told them something that was disappointing, and they went from 0 to 10 and blew up and became extremely angry. Something seemed to have happened to them that made it very hard for them to modulate their responses to the environment. My colleagues and I started to think about how is what these guys suffer from different from what other people who are in psychiatry textbooks suffer from. So I dug up a book that was written in 1941 by Abram Gardner, who had been working with World War soldiers. He writes, these guys suffer from a physioneurosis. Their bodies continue to re-experience that very terrible, frightening situation. And that event keeps coming back in terms of images, behaviors, and physical sensations. So that became the core of our definition of PTSD. We write, these people have been exposed to an extraordinary event.
So yeah, the PTSD, I think he moves past the combat aspects of this, but it's important to remember that this is, as I started going through this mental unraveling in the beginning, this is the child abuse and
childhood PTSD.
Yeah, that trauma is what has become really prevalent to me.
Yeah.
So it's the responses to things that I've just in the last couple of years been trying to figure out how to sort of disconnect and figure out how to mend, if that makes sense. It's the
yeah. Well, you have to realize is what I was watching earlier is that it's your sympathetic nervous system that is kicked in. It's your fight, flight, or freeze nervous system that's kicked in.
Yeah.
So when you've got that kicked in all the time, it basically takes over. And that's just how you live in that state of fight, flight, or freeze. Your amygdala in your brain is just going haywire. So you just stay in that state. Well, when your nervous system is in that state all the time, you feel anxious, you feel irritable, you feel kind of like you're wearing a wool sweater.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's that constant state of being, you have no, your parasympathetic nervous system never kicks in, which is the rest, digest, and heal. So that really gets suppressed. So that's what happens when you're constantly in that state, is that PTSD. You can be nice and mellow. You can hide, flight,
Yep.
You know,
Run.
or you can turn around and be combative. That's why I think when he says that you're going from they can be really docile, somebody says the wrong thing and all of a sudden they switch. It's like somebody flipped the switch and they go from 0 to 10 and they're aggressive and they're explosive, and that's that they went from flight to fight, and it's just kicks right in.
Yeah, he mentions that at the beginning. You ever been around a person that they just something happens and they fly off the handle and they do this? Mm-hmm. That was me, especially during the greater parts of my drinking. I wasn't an angry person, but the emotional raw responses that I would exhibit to stuff was just always explosive.
You would even flinch if I tried to wake you up.
Yeah.
You would, like a bomb had just gone off in the room.
Yeah. And well, I know he's going to get into it more, but yeah, Lee, it's tough. We'll keep crying. Let it all out. But yeah,
you
join
are
the rest
an
of
HSP.
the club with the highly sensitive persons.
Yeah.
And I think they'll mention it here, but what's been really prevalent for me to understand is that trauma is not necessarily the event itself. Trauma is how we responded to it in the at the time.
Yes.
And that response is how we carry things over. Look, I'll get very candid about this. And I know it's uncomfortable for people to hear, but when my mother would abuse us physically, she was also doing that with a verbal aggression that really resonated all the time.
Yeah. Well, abuse takes many forms. So
yeah. Well, when we were getting beat and yelled at, and there was a lot of the "I wish you were never born," "I fucking hate you," and all of that stuff. As we were going through that, the response to that trauma was to, after we got released from it, out from that little moment of hell, was me and my brother and sister, we would separate and we would go hide. Mm-hmm. And during that hiding period or being alone, there was an emotional confusion that was happening. So that's how I was responding to the trauma.
Well,
so
when kids go through trauma, they don't have the after, and they don't have that after effect of being comforted and secure and put in a secure place. They're constantly in that state of fight or flight or hide.
Right.
Then that's how they're taught that's how life is. That's your environment. So you constantly have to be on your guard all the time.
Yeah. And so while we were there, or there was the thought of shame of what am I,
am I broken?
When you're 9-10 years old and you've just gone through that event for having a dirty room, or whatever it is, just being a normal fucking child, Yeah. And then your drunken mother is unleashing that hell on you. It's wildly confusing and extremely discombobulating.
Yeah.
And
especially if you were to see another family and you see another child and they're getting comforted and they're in a secure environment and you don't understand why you don't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my mom would make me do weird shit. Like she would make me get a switch and she would make me whip my brother Hans. And she would watch. That was, I don't know if I've ever told you that.
No.
She wouldn't.
That's new to me.
Now that I'm thinking about that, that's really fucking twisted, because as the abuser, she would try to turn me into it as well. While
misery loves company.
Yeah,
I guess.
while sort of force feeding me a level of authority.
Oh God.
You know what I mean? Like here, you are responsible for your brother, so you punish him. Like what? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. That's wow.
That's outside of normal human experience. And in retrospect, that shows us how ignorant and narrow-minded we were, because it turned out that this is not an unusual experience at all. Trauma is actually, unlike what we first thought, extremely common. 1 out of 5 women in America has a history of sexual molestation. Even a lot of men have histories of sexual molestation. 1 out of 4 kids get beaten very hard by their parents. 1 out of 8 kids see physical fights between their parents. People usually think about the military when they talk about trauma. But when we started to work with inner city kids, the amount of trauma that these kids experienced was just unspeakable. The nature of trauma is that an experience enters into your ears, into your skin, into your eyes, and it goes down into a very primitive part of your brain that automatically interprets what is going on. Is this dangerous or is this safe? An event becomes traumatic when there is nothing you can do to stave off the inevitable, and your body starts automatically going into a state of fight, flight, or collapse. The lingering effect of trauma is that you continue to react to mild stressors as if your life is in danger. And so you tend to become hyper-reactive. Somebody may irritate you in the supermarket. You may develop road rage. You may have a difficult time putting up with misbehavior from your spouse or your kids. And most people actually are barely aware or not aware at all that their reactions that they're having right now are actually rooted in experiences they have had before. That event itself is over, but you continue to react to things as if you're in danger. Mm-hmm. So the big challenge of treating trauma is how do we help people to live in bodies that feel fundamentally safe?
Yeah, that's the key.
The tradition in mental health.
We're battling footpads here.
Yeah, live in a body that's fundamentally safe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the key, is to try and get from that state of constantly that hypervigilance to a body that's at peace. It's mindfulness is a good way to get from that state to a body that's in peace. Yeah.
And that takes a lot of work. It's taken me a long time. I still catch myself. Practice. I can, like, I'm right now, I'm very comfortable. My body's in a safe space. When I went to work the other day and I went to the cafeteria, mm-hmm. I was standing facing the wall paying for my stuff, and I was feeling happy and maybe content, but just out of nowhere, I felt my body do this. And I was just like, motherfucker.
Physical reaction to...
just because there was so many people around.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I have that thought of disdain or panic or that happen, as soon as that thought enters my mind, I start to feel like I'm going to have a panic attack. And then as soon as I think that's going to happen, then it just goes. So there's a lot of willpower that I have to put into in the moment. I can't just stop and sit down in the middle of the cafeteria and be like, all right, I gotta fucking breathe this out. So there's an immediate take a couple breaths, relax, and just tell myself there's no
trauma around you.
There's no danger here.
Yeah.
Just relax. And I know that sounds very dramatic. But
somebody who's had to deal with CPTSD or PTSD, CPTSD.
Yeah.
There we go. that is very important and very fundamental, because that's their makeup. That's how they were programmed, or that's how they programmed themselves through all of the trauma they've had to experience. So for them to try and not deal with that out of 50 years of having to deal with that, it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It is doable, but it's not an I'm going to do it in 5 seconds type of deal.
Yeah. Now, and we'll continue that in that. Let's say I'm much better about this, but
Oh yeah, you're much better about this.
if I've done something that wasn't particularly well done at work, and then I get feedback for it from my boss, there is a weird underlying fucking guttural emotion that I don't let out, but it's this feeling of fuck. What did I do? What's wrong with me? Why am I like this? There's this whole cacophony of shit that starts to swirl around while I'm sitting there going, yeah, that's fair feedback. I'm okay. I don't, but in my head, I'm like, what is happening right now? It's not as bad as that used to be, but it's a confrontation. It's a I'm getting feedback given to me because someone is disappointed with me, and I'm not a good person.
Yeah. Yeah. or you feel like you're being attacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not what it is at all.
When I was a kid, one of my parents got divorced when I was 5. I went through a lot of what other kids do, where I felt like it was my fault that my parents got divorced. There was something wrong with me that caused them not to love each other anymore.
Yeah.
And that stayed with me for a very long time.
Yeah. But you didn't have the emotional tools to be able to express that to them at the time either, because if you...
All I could do is express it by either hiding, which I did a lot, taking my toys and going into the room and playing in there with the door shut, and, completely isolating myself. Even at school, I didn't play with kids a lot.
Yeah.
I played a lot by myself. I did a lot of hiding, or I would act out.
Yeah.
And I would fight.
Yeah. So, and if the parents are listening, take this in the spirit for which it's intended. But those are those moments that still resonate with you, right? In your 50s. But if you could have been able to articulate that feeling somehow, there might have been an opportunity for one of the parents to sit you down and go, hey, what's going on with me and your mother, or me and your father, this is not your fault. You're a good person.
I think they tried to do that. They did sit us down and say, we just cannot be with each other anymore. This has nothing to do with you. This is between us. We just can't be with each other anymore. But I don't know if they actually sat down and said, I just need to make sure that this is not that this is not your fault.
Yeah.
But they did sit us down and say, this has nothing to do with you. We just can't live with each other anymore.
It's so critical. I know we're getting off into a different area, but the nurturing versus just allowing a child to be growing up in nature, the nurturing is what's crucial. It really is. All things being equal, I often think that if a child has one loving parent, that's fantastic. If they have two, whether that's a mom and a mom, or a dad and a dad, or a mom and a whatever,
that's even better.
That's even better. When you have two family parent figures that can have diverse opinions and different ways of giving you this nurture and this nurture, man, it really sets us up for a different level of success. But I look at, hey Joe, I often do this silent study of people's children, and I think that's natural for us to do, us that grew up in abuse, because there's it's not a comparison per se. It's a study that's happening.
Observation.
A good example is like I look at Kim and her children, and you can just tell. All three of them, they're adults, but all three of them have just this different layer of success to them that's really admirable. And my immediate thought when I see those are the good example, I look at them and I think, man, Kim gave them love and direction. She probably doesn't think it was perfect, and it probably wasn't perfect. It wasn't a complete roadmap.
I mean, we can get into what is perfect.
Right.
I think it's geared towards the parent and the child and their dynamic.
Right, but that's just it. There's parenting that happens.
Yeah, instead of a lack of parenting.
Yeah, or neglect and abuse.
Yeah.
I if parents are struggling ever with this stuff, I always just want to go, look, as long as you're not, doing lines of coke and fucking some dude in front of them and like my mom did, and then, beating them with a switch and telling them you fucking hate them. Do you do that? No. Well, then you're probably doing okay. Don't do any of that shit and you'll be all right.
Well, there's also mental abuse that goes in there too.
Of course.
So, my mom said some choice things to me that you probably shouldn't say to a child.
Yeah.
But there's
Judy and I were talking about we were 70s kids, and there's a strange sort of dichotomy that comes with that, and there was a lot of free love and
my mom probably should not have taken us to a nude beach when we were still in our diapers. That was or not just out of the diapers. I think I was like, well, they were divorced, so I was 6.
Yeah, well.
Probably not a good idea, but it was like you said, it was the 70s, and that's the free love and hippie and naked and
but I don't. Things have been done and bygones, but it's not healthy for a 6-year-old girl to see a bunch of dicks walking around. That's just not healthy, no matter how you spin it.
No,
right?
It's very dramatic.
Okay.
Anyway,
health is to dismiss the reality of people's lives. For example, it's only in the past few years that people are beginning to talk about the impact of poverty, or the impact of racism, or the impact of unemployment. And people have sort of been labeling people, oh, there's something wrong with you, let me fix you. But if you go to a physician or a mental health practitioner who doesn't understand that, they're going to try to fix you with drugs or cognitive behavioral treatment to not do these crazy things anymore. It usually doesn't work very well. What was very clear is that being in a relationship where people can hear you, where you can talk about how badly you feel, where you can talk about your guilt, and where you can start opening up where these feelings come from, how old these feelings are, and how you develop these feelings in response to particular things that happen to you, that was actually quite helpful. Because you need to really develop a deep sense of, this is what happened to me. This is what I'm dealing with. And I need to take care of the wounds that I'm carrying inside of myself. This issue of self-compassion and really knowing that your reactions are understandable and are rooted in you getting stuck in the past is a terribly important part of beginning to recover from trauma. Most of us are survivors of one thing or another, some much worse than others. And so if people say, what do you wish your legacy were? They say, I want our society to know about trauma and to really do all the things that are necessary so that people who grow up under extreme adverse conditions can develop a brain and a mind that can help them to become full-fledged members of society. That's our big issue, and that's the big challenge that we have.
Get smarter, faster with videos from...
Yeah, I think that's very important to also recognize that there is personal trauma and there's also collective trauma as a society.
Yes.
You have the poor, you have unemployment, you have racism, you have, the political climate. There is the collective trauma that we all experience as well. So to really take that and try to teach us new techniques and new tools on how to be a more productive and a good member of society is a good idea too.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I was smiling at you because I like your introspection on this stuff. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Brian says he hits an element. Perfect parents don't exist. They are just folks committed to doing the best they can with the tools and skills they were given. Yes. And I think the key thing is committed to doing the best they can with raising their kids.
Yeah.
I know we went off
and some parents just don't have the toolkit to do it at the time. Some parents are growing right along with their kids.
Yeah. Okay, so I know we went off on a sort of a side quest.
Yes.
Of the child abuse and trauma. Well, because it's what impacts me.
Yes.
And it's what I'm working a lot through still.
The topic was how trauma manifests in the body, or how the body keeps score.
Yeah.
The body does keep score. Women who have suffered from sexual abuse are 40% more likely to get endometriosis or ovarian cancer. Men who have suffered from sexual abuse are 40% more likely to get heart disease. These are documented things, documented statistics that are out there that have proven that trauma affects the body physiology. Yeah. I told you even earlier today that Socrates, 2,400 years ago, said that the problem with physicians today, now we're talking 24 years ago, the problem with physicians today is that they separate the mind from the body. We are still doing that in our Western medicine to this day. We are still doing that. That is what I think is the most bummer of this whole thing, is that because they are still separating the mind from the body. I mean, I do think that they're starting to go back into, okay, well, they're all one thing. You got to treat them both. But they're so far away from it right now with all the prescriptions and not doing a full intake when the patient comes in and asking them, how's your diet? How's your sleep patterns? How much coffee do you drink? Those type of things. Without doing those and recognizing the link between the body and the brain, or the mind, I should say, they're still far behind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because that takes work. It takes work. We talked about that in the beginning, just to be able to take the time to coach and educate and mentor people into healthy lives versus just throwing shit at them. But I was surprised when you told me about that this morning, that 2 millennia ago,
yeah,
there was the issue of
separating the mind from the body.
Yeah, overprescribing.
From one of our greatest philosophers,
yeah,
in Greek history. It's shocking that we're still doing the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so the body holds on to trauma. There's no doubt about that. So what can we do to not have that be so impactful on us?
Like I said earlier, mindfulness is a very good way to start doing that. Because when you go through trauma and you're not using your reason or your rationality, your prefrontal cortex starts to shrink.
Yeah.
Sitting down and writing out what you're feeling, your trauma, you're using your prefrontal cortex. So you're engaging your rational part of your brain. So you're starting to rebuild the prefrontal cortex. And work with that more to pull yourself out of the amygdala, your fight, flight, or freeze, and rebuild your rational side of your brain. Your hippocampus that stores your memory, that stores your emotions, that also shrinks when your amygdala starts to go haywire. So in going back into mindfulness, you're starting to self-evaluate. You're starting to be aware of yourself, starting to dig into deep down, why are these emotions happening? Why am I feeling this way? You're starting to engage your hippocampus and your prefrontal cortex because those have shrunken with all the trauma. So you're starting to pull yourself out of being in that constant state of fight, flight, or freeze. You're starting to pull yourself into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest, digest, and heal. And that's where we should be for most of our existence. It's in the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest, digest, and heal, instead of the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, or freeze.
So, dang, look at you with all the science. I love it. Yeah, so that is easier said than done.
It is, but there's tricks that you can do. Like I said, writing down what you're feeling, writing down what you're experiencing at that moment, taking a few minutes to just breathe and bring yourself back to center, bring yourself to right now in the present. Those things help a lot. Yoga is wonderful for bringing yourself into the present.
Yep. And
stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system.
Yep. And meditation, thoughtfulness, obviously. Okay. Well, we never said we'd have the solutions.
But one more thing is when you're in that fight, flight, or freeze, it's because they were generated from memories, from experiences that you had in the past. Bringing yourself into the present and just staying there pulls you out of those memories that you had from your past as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are tools that you have that you can work with. The more you work with those tools, the easier they will be. The more you reprogram your brain, the easier it will be for you to automatically go into the mindfulness set instead of staying in that traumatic set.
Yeah. Yep, you're absolutely right. I think it's important to note, and we've talked about this before, but it bears repeating, is that for me and for a lot of folks out there, when the last 50 years of emotional development have not been there. So we realize it. Luckily, I realized it in time, right? Otherwise, I could be 80 years old going, all right, it's time to heal myself. Hey, but it's never too late to start.
Never too late.
But again, where I'm going with that, and I talked to Brian about this yesterday, is that I suffered trauma with a few fleeting good times in my life. Next thing you know, I'm very confused and in high school. Next thing you know, I'm in Fort Benning, Georgia, getting taught how to kill people. Next thing you know, I'm drinking. I'm getting deployed to foreign lands and not visiting just for vacation.
Yeah.
And then now I'm out with just kind of a fucking shattered shell of a spirit, and now I'm in my late 20s, and there we are. That's our broken development in a nutshell for a lot of people. And then for me, I met you. That was beautiful, but the drinking continued, and the more I went through life, there was the constant drinking.
Well, you have two broken people, and then you just add alcohol.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful recipe for disaster.
Yeah, we were good codependents.
Yes.
But so I don't know. I just bear with my scattered thoughts here. I'm born, I'm abused, I'm a teenager, I'm gone, I'm getting trained And you can look at, you don't have to put the military in there. You can put, now you're out, now you're hanging out with drug addicts, alcoholics. You're easily slipping into, I just shoplifted once and then I stole a car. Now I'm in prison. Now it's 30 years later and you're 50 and you're like, what the fuck happened? Well, it's that pattern of just momentum from the trauma that continues. You gotta.
Well, you don't know how to pull yourself out.
Right.
You were never taught. Nobody ever gave you tools and sat you down and say, okay, I want you to do this and this and this. And I want you to keep doing that until you're changed, until you change, until
Right.
you're happy, until you're a solid human being. Nobody teaches you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I take that back. Some people do teach you that. There's certain people that come in. There's certain people that came into my life that you know, they were only there briefly, but they were there to teach me one small little iota of how to change a little bit, and then they were gone.
Yeah. Doing their jobs. So I don't know. I've gone through this with my 30-year-old daughter for a couple years, to the point where none of us understand how to even navigate that anymore, because she knows better. She's been told, she's been shown examples. I'm leading by example. Her mother and stepfather are modeling the way and leading by example, but
well, it's just like going to AA. Nobody's really going to go there until nobody's really going to take that step to change until they're ready to take that step to change.
yeah.
Until they've either hit rock bottom or crawled along rock bottom.
Yep. Hold on. We're going to get ready to wrap it up. We got to read these long comments though. Kim says, thank you, John. I did try my best and always wanted my kids to have a better childhood than me. That kept me super motivated to do better. Yeah. And it shows. Lee says, everything you are talking about is what I'm living. This is really hard work. No wonder we drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking about this. I never had the intention, Lee, to drink heavily, to mask any of this. But I didn't know I was masking it by drinking heavily.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is I talked about it in my last AA meeting too. This is where you don't know what you don't know sometimes. And it's like, why do I feel like I'm a bundle of fucking garbage and energy and pent up hostility and aggression, and I'm having a hard time with intimacy and love, and it's like, fuck, I don't know, let's just drink another beer and then figure it out, and then kind of coast through life. Why am I not as happy as I should be? And then you get sober and my soul and spirit was just like, hey man, good job on quitting drinking. However, now we need to release the Kraken.
Now we need to deal.
So we can't just shit out this, your past. So you're going to have to figure out how to deal with it. And Lee, that's the dealing with it, that it's, man, the first year was really, really discombobulating for me of sobriety. And I could see, there's always reasons why people relapse, but I'm glad that my body had it. And in the living situation that I'm in, especially with my wife getting sober with me, there was just no way I could drink. That way, it would just, even in my darkest times, I knew that if I were to drink again, especially during the beginning, it would just fucking, my entire life would crumble around me. So there was never that even like, this sounds like a good idea. I'll go get drunk and everything will be fine. Because for me, that was like, I'm destroying your life. Dad would be sitting there like, what the fuck is happening now?
Yeah, yeah.
So,
well, we played the tape forward.
Yeah.
I would feel absolutely miserable if I had another drink.
Yeah.
I would feel so bad about myself.
Yeah, so it's giving me a lot to think about again. So it's a good therapy session. So yeah, Lee says, and John, no one evaluated you and saw the trauma. I just hope the medical field starts to educate med students to see this.
Oh, I hope so too.
Yes, Lee, 100%. But that's what I was talking to with Brian and Kim yesterday, and I've been very vocal about this. That takes time. It takes time and work. When we go to see our doctor here in the U.S., we have 30 minutes and
15.
Yeah. Well, okay.
The office visit is 15.
And it even has a sign. There's a sign on the door. Like if there's our sign on the door here in the United States, in the Midwest, says on the back of the door when it's shut, basically only talk to your doctor what you came here to do. Otherwise, you may get charged another copay.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, hey doc, I got this thing going on, but I also have some mental health issues. He'll be like, no. Just here's some pills. Fuck off. Go take these pills, and I don't know.
I've never heard Dr. Hale say fuck off.
It's not that bad.
But yeah.
But
Yeah,
to Lee's point, that takes a different level of money. It takes a different level of care to go get care to go get the evaluation.
I think the healthcare right now is so micromanaged that there's no leeway for doctors to do anything outside of the lines that they're given when they go in to do an office visit. There's no leeway. Right. I go into Dr. Hale and I tell them one thing, and I go into him and I said, well, I have a list. And he's like, okay, read them off. Let's go. And I'll just read off the list of what I got going on. Not a long list, you guys. I'm pretty healthy. But I'll just read off the list. And if there's anything that he doesn't have the time or doesn't have the expertise to deal with, then he refers me to somebody else.
Yeah. But to Lee's point, the evaluation,
they're very micromanaged. They've got these parameters that they have to deal with. And if there's anything outside of those parameters, they're not allowed to expand.
Yeah. Can we be honest about the word micromanaged? I think they are money managed.
Okay. Yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, unless you're in private practice. Oh, see, Lee said it. It's money based.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, hey, Sanja, welcome back from Croatia. Joe, you can relate. Joe's a mortician. I only say that to relate with understanding how hard trauma regarding death can be. Letters to God is so good. Letters to God. Yeah, that's the other.
That's another good way to be mindful.
Yeah. In the Letting Go book that I'm reading, I talked to you about this last night. Look, I think people need to hear this too. If you're not religious, that's okay. Mm-hmm. If you're an atheist and you don't believe in God, then that's okay. That's the book that I'm in. I don't believe in the quintessential Jesus and God of how it's portrayed in the Bible of those religions.
Yeah. I believe in a higher power though.
Yeah. I think that is important. It is really helpful. Don't go through. I'm getting more and more there, and AA has really helped me rejuvenate this thought process again, because they do use the word God in NA and AA, but it's whatever God you want it to be.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be religious based. Mm-hmm. It is just being able to go something and call it God. Just call it God. We just got to have
or the universe or
just,
my higher power.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Help me with this. And being able to get outside of your own head and ask something else for help is you basically talking to your self-conscious and your soul and your spirit.
It also helps you to let go.
Yeah. Yes. Letting go is what's crucial about this. Letting go can help you let go.
Letting go can help you move forward.
Yes.
Yeah. It can also help with getting rid of trauma.
Yep. Okay. This has been a good discussion. Thank you for the well, hold on. I got to read the rest of the comments. Kim says, writing my feelings out helped so much when my brother passed away in 2003. Journaling helped again tremendously for me. Yep. Journaling is a good way to go, Kim. Yeah. And Marcus likes to contemplate the universe to know that I'm part of something much bigger. Yeah. Something much bigger. Okay. So Michelle texted me, and I figured out the technical issue. I got to do some research. So it happened as soon as I started the video.
Oh.
The feed drop. This happened before with just Lee, where she's like, oh, it cut out for me, but then it came back. I wonder if it has to do with, Michelle said, thank you, Lisa. Be sure to join us next week for another epic show. We don't know exactly what it is, but it's going to be epic.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll figure out the technical stuff. Kim and Brian said that it froze on them. They weren't able to get back in, but as soon as I started playing a video, I wonder if it has to do, Michelle said that an ad started playing. So I don't know. I'm not, it's a copyright thing, I think, but we're not copyright infringing because we're sharing content on YouTube that's already available. Anyway, I'll look into it. Thank you for your patience and bearing with us through the
thank you so much.
Stuff. Okay.
We wish everybody a lovely day.
Yes.
And a lovely weekend.
And be kind to yourselves.
To be patient with yourself.
You are loved. You really are. And if you think that you're not worth anything, you think you're not a good person, just remember that you were loved at one point and you are loved now. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have the support system in your life, whether that's family or friends, then fuck them. Go find another support system. Go check out a meeting. Just go check it out. AA, NA, Al-Anon, one of those.
Surround yourself with people that will help you.
Because you are a good person.
Mm-hmm. And you deserve the help.
And if you're going through trauma and you're wondering why you're always in a dark, dismal place, then start to do some self-discovery and work on yourself. It is not easy. We're not telling you it's going to be easy, but we're telling you it's going to be worth it.
Yes, most definitely.
All right. We love you all. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the patience with the technical stuff today. We will see you next week. Bye.